Hello, everyone. How are you? My name is Tanisha Lyons Porter, and I am the CEO and founder of Natural Born Organizers. We are a service based company in Los Angeles, California. We have clients across the country, and I am a celebrity professional organizer. What does that mean? That means that people pay me to come into their homes and their businesses and create systems within their homes and businesses, create organizing systems that make productivity and efficiency immeasurably better than it was before, right? And the end result is that their home and their business supports their lifestyle, their life, their goals, their dreams, their aspirations. That is what I do. I work with A-list celebrities, along with everyday folks like me and you. Regardless on who I'm working with and the level of their clutter or disorganization, no judgment. We're just here to help at Natural Born Organizers. So what I wanted to talk to today and is I want to talk about emergency preparedness as I am going through my emergency and disaster planning. I'm actually on ready.gov, and I am using their plan form, their ready-made form that's fillable, that then you can download onto as a PDF and display wherever you need to put it in your emergency preparedness kit, your go bags, and things like that. Do you have a go bag? Do you know what a go bag is? What level of emergency preparedness would you rate yourself? What level of emergency preparedness would you rate yourself? You do not have a go bag, Geo Kim? Is that what you're saying? So I live in Los Angeles, and I can remember as early as elementary school us hearing about, and everyone, when you jump on, say hi in the chat and let me know where you live. Not just because I want to be nosy, but because everyone deals with different types of emergencies depending on where you live in the country and in the world. And I found something out yesterday as I was preparing for this workshop that I'm doing tomorrow. Hey, Colton. As I was preparing for this workshop that I'm doing tomorrow on emergency preparedness, it's called Prepared, Not Panicked. The biggest mistake that I made in January is that there are so many different ways that we should be prepared that we're not thinking about. And one of the things that I realized in January, because I live in Los Angeles, and obviously I experienced the Los Angeles fire scare. The fires didn't reach here, but it definitely got closer than we were comfortable. Hello, everyone. My name is Tanisha Lyons Porter. I'm a professional organizer. I'm the CEO and founder of Natural Born Organizers. And so I'm here talking about emergency preparedness because tomorrow I am hosting and facilitating a free workshop called Prepare Not Panic. And I'm doing this because, like I said, being born in Los Angeles, California, we are always talked about being prepared for earthquakes, right? Really, did your uncle live in Pasadena or like near Altadena or near the Palisades fire or Malibu? Um, so yeah, so it was really scary, right? Because they were popping up so much that we didn't really know how they were starting. And although where I live isn't, was still, I think, 10 miles away from the Palisades fire. When I, in the 80s, in 1980s, in the 80s, um, there was a fire in the Baldwin Hills area. Brush came up the hills. So anyway, so what I realized, it was that I was very prepared for an earthquake. I was very prepared for an earthquake. I was prepared for a blackout. I was not prepared for evacuation or wildfire. That is what I was not prepared for. And I did not like that feeling of not being prepared. Really? Why do you hate February? Is there trauma of some type for February? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, well, I'm sorry. It's gonna happen um every single year. And on that note, I will remove you. Bye-bye. Um, because um we don't need that type of energy in here. Bye. Um anyway, well, that's good. That's good. Thank you, Colton. Hopefully you're not I won't have to block you. So let's keep this conversation going. Hey, Heather. Okay, so anyway, so like I said, so being from LA, I've always been prepared for earthquakes, always been prepared for blackouts, was not prepared for a wildfire. Um, and I've been prepared for like little house fires, that type of thing, like having a fire blanket, having a fire extinguisher, things like that. But the wildfires taught me that I was not prepared for an evacuation due to a wildfire. My husband and I were not on the same page in regards to what we should do if we would had to evacuate. And what I realized was interesting. I had my go bags and things like that ready to jet out if we had an earthquake. I was not prepared for having to evacuate with a very high probability that your house could be gone. That's like a different mindset and a different level of preparation. And so from that, I said, you know what? I got to get myself together. And if I am feeling that way and felt off, not prepared, other people are. And so that is the reason why I'm doing this free workshop tomorrow. It's called Prepared, Not Panicked. And it's a free workshop tomorrow, 10 a.m. at Pacific Standard Time. If you're interested, let me know. I can drop the link. It's a free workshop. So anyway, so what I'm doing now is, so what I also realized is we really didn't have a plan in place. And also, it was evident that I didn't go back through and refresh my emergency kits because we had lost our electricity during the LA fire scares for like 3 hours. And a lot of our flashlights were dim or didn't work or weren't where they were supposed to be. And I did not like that. So for the people who are on, where do you all live? What region do you all live? I am on the West Coast. And what are what are the things that you regionally should be prepared for? And how prepared are you? Do you have a go bag? Do you have a 3-day emergency prepared kit? Are you prepared if you lose electricity? What are your plans? I'm curious. On a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being that you're not prepared at all, 5 being that you are very prepared. How prepared do you feel like you are? Um, Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Okay. I'm just filling out I'm updating my disaster emergency plan. Do you all have one? You know, on ready.gov on the FEMA website, they have a fillable PDF that you can complete. And so that is what I'm doing right now. Do you all want to see my emergency go bag? The one that is in my bedroom, like literally right by my bed. So if there is an emergency in the middle of the night, I can just grab it. Do you all want to know? Do you all want to see that emergency go bag that I have? Let me know. If you don't, I won't show it because I don't want to bore you. But if you do, I will show you. Are my contacts? Oh, they are. Are they? On this phone too? Oh, they are. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to share was on the FEMA website, they have this thing called the National Risk Index, right? And it's an index from inefficient data all the way up to very high. And it's an interactive map. And I found this very interesting because it shows like all of the very high, relatively moderate areas because they're red, orange, and yellow. And it's very interesting. They're pretty much all along the coast is yellow, red, and orange. It stops right before you get to Texas. It's not as much, only like yellows. And then the west coast or the western border of Texas, there's blues and blues. But then once you hit the southern border of Texas, and then going through the south, it's yellows, reds, oranges. Most of Miami coast are oranges and reds, and then the whole entire East Coast, outside of maybe the Carolinas, maybe, and above Boston, in Maine. Detroit has some oranges. Chicago has oranges. I'm very curious on what. But then I'm, in the middle of the country, or where I would have thought, where I would have thought like Tornado Lane. But there are some yellows, relatively moderate. There are some areas where I'm wondering what do you think the risk factors in Tennessee are, in Memphis? What do you think those risk factors are? So I'm gonna look. So they have different types of risk ratings: avalanche, coastal flooding, cold wave, drought, earthquake, hail, heat wave, hurricane, ice storm, landslide, lightning, riverline flooding, strong winds, tornadoes, tsunamis, volcanic activity, wildfire, and winter weather. So, what was bumping Memphis as an orange is earthquakes is relatively high, not as high as California because we were 100. I think ours was like 110, I want to say. But earthquakes in Memphis, heat waves in Memphis, hurricanes is relatively low, but it is a 72. Ice storms in Memphis is relatively high. Landslides is relatively moderate, it's 85. Lightning is high, 96. Ooh, that doesn't surprise me because when I was in Nashville, that lightning storm was riverline flooding. Very, very interesting. So that is very high. That is a 99.9. So for people who live in Memphis, and if you live near a river, that is something that you have to be prepared for in regards to your plan, right? I'm assuming if there's a lot of a lot of rain that is expected to come down in a short amount of time, right? Strong winds is relatively moderate. Tornadoes. So in Memphis, they get tornadoes, probably like we get earthquakes. So it's very, very interesting. Wildfires is very low. Winter weather is relatively moderate. So it's just very interesting because I don't know if people understand that. Maybe they do. If you live there, maybe you do. You know the risk. But, I know there were other risks in Los Angeles that kind of surprised me, I think. Let me go to Los Angeles. Yeah. So this is LA County, right? We're very high in a lot of places. Who's still on? Who is still on? So avalanche is very low. Coastal flooding is still very low because our waters are cold. I think it's probably one reason. Cold wave, no rating. Drought, which is very weird, is relatively low. 73, a score of 73. I don't know what they're comparing it to, but earthquakes is very high. Duh, 100%. Hail is relatively low. Yeah, we really don't get hail that much. Heat wave is relatively high, 98%, or 98.4 is a score. Hurricane, not applicable. Ice storms, not applicable. Our waters are cold right now, so we typically don't have hurricane threats. Landslides make sense, relatively high, especially, on the hillsides and, if we have a lot of burned brush. Lightning is relatively high. Not as high as in Tennessee, though. Riverline flooding is relatively moderate. That's probably because we don't have the rain like we should. Tornadoes, relatively high. Interesting. Because we don't typically have a lot of tornadoes. So if you were to ask me, like, do y'all get tornadoes? Is that a risk? I probably wouldn't think for us that would be a risk, right? Now, we don't have most California or Los Angeles houses don't have basements. Some do. One of the properties that I own does have a basement. So if we were to get into a season where we had tornadoes, that would be probably our place, would be our basement there at that property. So that's really, really good to know. Tsunamis, relatively moderate. interesting. Wildfires, very high. Not as high as earthquakes, but 99.9 as a score. And winter weather is relatively low. So I think what's interesting for me is the riverline flooding, kind of the lightning, because maybe because the rain, and definitely the tornado. So I find this very, very interesting. If someone wants to tell me what region they live in, I'll look it up and see. If you want, I'll look it up and see. But I find that very, 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 very interesting. So, well, let me get back to my emergency plan. And I'm actually adding my family's information in here as well, because I feel like I can share it with them, because it would be pretty much the same. Like the same plan would be, you know? So I think, yeah, okay. All right, well, I am going to jump off because y'all aren't talking to me, so I don't know if you want to hear more, and I don't want to bore you. But before I jump off, please subscribe. It helps the algorithm. It helps me. And like this. Thank you for the people who have liked this video. I appreciate you. But yeah, please subscribe and like this video, share this video. If there was any level of information that was helpful, please share it. And I appreciate you. And maybe I'll come back later or talk to you later or tomorrow. Okay? Talk soon. All right. Bye.